Okay, what we have here is Green Sand Plus. It's a filter medium. What it basically is magnesium oxide wrapped around a silica base. What it does is it oxidizes iron and manganese in your water. So as the water comes through the filter, all right, it has to go through this Green Sand Plus. When it does, it basically starts removing the iron, oxidizing it, and it keeps it in an insoluble state. And what that means is that it won't come through the house, it gets caught in the filter. When the filter starts backwashing, it goes out of the filter, and we're all good. So I'm going to show you what Green Sand Plus looks like. This fine black dust, okay? All right, almost looks like gunpowder. This is green sand, which we could call it black sand, but it's green. Spill it. Stuff's expensive.
How much you said that stuff was for a bag?
$93.
Okay. And how often would you have to replace something like that?
3 to 5 years.
Okay. So that's just a funnel you got there?
Yeah, basically any of your filter medias, you use this to kind of keep it distributed throughout the canister, which I would have the canister out right now, but it doesn't want to sit real flat on the ground, so I put it inside of its container. Now with Green Sand Plus, if you have bad iron in your water, it recommends that you use about 50% of your canister should be green sand to help precipitate iron and manganese out of your water. This is a half a cube, but my canister is really small, so I probably won't have to use, but maybe a quarter of a cube.
How do you determine how big of a canister people need?
It's basically determined on usage, water usage. The more water you use, the more, or the larger a filter you're going to need. We've got a really small place. We've got 1 bathroom and 2 sinks. So our usage isn't as high. So we're not going to need something that's going to, this whole house filter I got at Lowe's. It's awesome. It's made by Whirlpool. Awesome filter. Backwashes itself. You set the cycle. Does everything you really needed to do in a whole house filter. You go to Lowe's.com. You can see the reviews. People rave about it.
So can a lay person do what you're doing, or is this a trade professional secret that you're sharing with us?
You really, in order to deal with, this is a dual filter. Mm-hmm. What that means is it has 2 filter medias in it. We can't count the gravel because that's the bed. But yeah, you're really going to want to know a little bit more about the filter media before you do it. Mm-hmm. Because each media has a specific gravity. And what that means is basically it's the weight of the material. When this filter goes to backwash, water comes in and it just basically sloshes through this cylinder, the heavier particles will always settle to the bottom, and then your next heaviest, and then your next heaviest. So if your specific gravities are too close to each other, what will happen is your medias will start mixing together and they'll get kind of clogged up. They'll get bunched up together and your filter really won't it won't perform as efficiently as possible. Alright, let's take a look. Oh wow. Okay. I would say that we have 50% of our canister full. Maybe a little more, but that's alright. We got high iron in our water. Okay, we are done with green sand. I probably have enough to rebed it again in 3 years.
Will it stay good for 3 years?
Absolutely, as long as it stays dry. Next, this is another product that I really, really love. Surprisingly, it's a swimming pool filter media. But it's really good one. It's much better than filter sand. Okay, this product's called Zeobrite. All right, and the component is actually called zeolite. It's a natural element. What this stuff does is, say if your filter needs 5 pounds of filter sand, you would only need 2.5 pounds of zeolite in order to get the same filtration. Basically, it's a much more efficient product. So that's why I've chosen to go with it. We've got clay silt in our water, so this is really going to help remove that as well.
So, how do you determine what kind of filter media a house would need?
You have to do like a water quality assessment. A lot of your well waters are going to be high in iron and manganese, sulfur, sulfates, things like that. And it's really just a simple water quality assessment. You know, I've got equipment that can test for iron in water, how many parts per million, sulfates, things like that. If I don't have the equipment, I have access to a lab that can. So it's just a matter of figuring out what it is you need and then putting the right filter media in. We are fortunate enough to live on Little Lake Santa Fe. You see in the back. My biggest concern with our water is that our well could be under the direct influence of that large body of water. The great thing about filter media is that it helps remove these other minerals and elements that you don't want in your house, but what it will not do, it won't remove bacteria from the water. Which is why I have opted to disinfect our water. I got a chlorine pump, and I'm going to add liquid chlorine to the process to basically kill any trace bacteria in our water, and then I will run that through a carbon filter, which will dechlorinate the water, so the water coming into the house won't have any chlorine at all.
I bet that'll make your wife pretty happy, huh?
Absolutely. She doesn't like chlorine. Me, I love chlorine because I like what it does to the water. It keeps it safe, but a lot of people don't like the taste of it. So that's why I've pretty much opted to do the dechlorination. Probably should have wore the respirator on that one. This stuff's kind of dusty. I think one more bucket ought to do it. Now this stuff, you can get this pretty much at pool supply houses, anything like that. I got it online, and it was $25 for the whole bag, 50-pound bag. So it's really relatively inexpensive.
You're just disinfecting your lungs.
No, that sand right there doesn't do anything to it. I mean, as a particulate, it might irritate you. It's kind of windy out here, so I'm not really worried about it. Okay, this is kind of filled to capacity here. We might be able to help it get in there a little bit better. have it. We have rebedded our filter. Now, I'm going to take this lime green piece of duct tape off here. What this is our feed tube for our water. And when you're putting your filter media in there, you don't want your media to get down in that tube and clog it up. So I just pull this piece of lime green tape my wife gave me because it works. The tape works, but it's also lime green for the company. There's a little plug there. Okay. Now I have to get the distributor on here.
Okay, that'll be part 2.